What if I told you there was a game with exploration, combat, tech upgrades, civilization building, and freaking ghosts? And what if I told you that these colors on my face represent the Red Duchy, the Coral Throne, the Golden Barony, the Emerald Kingdom, the Celestial Reign, and the Purple Matriarchy? And what if I told you that all of these elements were inside a Cube Pusher Eurogame? Now I know what you're thinking. Surely such a mind-bending coalescence of mechanisms simply could not exist. But the truth is, the game came out 10 years ago. Hyperborea is a game that looks like a punchy Ameritrash party, when in actuality it's a tried-and-true victory point collecting bag-building Euro extravaganza. If you're the type of person who loves getting whiplash, look at the cover of this game and then play a turn. Great, an orange cube. Ow! Oh, my neck! Before we start taking turns, let's get set up. To start, everyone takes a bag, a board, a race tile with a unique power, and a set of tokens that all share a matching color. Then grab one cube of each color plus one extra cube in a color of your choice. Then stick them in your sack. Take a starting trio of hexes matching your race's color and place them around the central tiles like so, depending on whether you're playing with 2, 3, or 4 players. Don't play with 5 or 6 players. I mean, you can, you're allowed to, but it's too much. Once you've got the map set up, take your little Zots and put them on your player board. Pick one of the Zots and move it up 3 spaces, another up 2, and one up 1. For your first game, don't overthink this, just pick 3 that sound fun. Moving, punching, multiplying, teching, cubing, and winning. I know what you're thinking, winning is probably the best of those, but not necessarily. Anyway, on your turn, you'll pull 3 cubes from your satchel and place them into your available cubes area. From there, you will allocate these colorful hexahedrons to various technologies on your player board, provided they have matching slots, blue cubes into blue slots, etc. You get the picture. Just so you know, you do not need to fill up a technology each given turn. You can fill up some, leave others open for a later turn where you might find the cubes that you need. When you fill up a tech, it's activated. Then you can do the thing that the tech says you can do. Let's talk cubes for a second. As the game goes on, you'll realize that you want to do certain things more frequently. This is going to vary depending on your particular strategy, but let's say you want to produce more units. You want to do that, you're going to need more purple cubes. But how do you get them? I'm about to explain that. It's going to be okay. This development area is your path to more cubes in your sack. Once you slide one of your Zots above this level, you can reset the Zot back to 0 and claim 1 cube. If you get a Zot all the way over here, you can reset the Zot and claim 2 cubes. Exciting stuff, right? Eventually, and I'm so sorry, the unthinkable will happen. You'll reach into your bag and feel no cubes at all. First, take a moment to collect yourself. It's rough. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's a bad time. Once you've taken a moment, take all the cubes from your unused cubes area and all the techs that you've activated and put them back into your bag. You can also take any of the cubes from techs that you have not activated, but you're also more than welcome to leave those there and save them for a later turn. Aside from fighting ghosts, movement penalties, advanced technologies, exploring ruins, flying fortresses, and cloning, I think you pretty much get the picture. Now you know what you need to experience the review in theaters Friday. You've probably gathered that while I like the game, there is a lot going on. I mean, what the hell is this? There are multiple dinosaurs in the rulebook. Why? I have no idea. The good news is it doesn't actually matter, at least not to me. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm the type of guy who loves a good thematic game. Most of the time, the more theme you can pack into your game, the more I'm gonna like it. Hyperborea has one of the weirdest, least seamless meldings of mechanics and theme that I have ever seen. But the mechanics are really good, and the theme is nothing, but it all just, I don't know, it kind of works. Not as a thematic experience. I never feel like pulling cubes out of a bag somehow logically equates to punching a ghost so hard that he dies again. As a gaming experience, though, This checks all the boxes. Games are tense and strategic, with things just tightening more and more as I keep coming back to it with the same gaming group. We're learning where the fat can be trimmed and how to make the most out of each cube. Something I haven't mentioned yet are these cards. These cards are unique, advanced technologies that you can buy throughout the game. Whenever you take one of these cards, you're also going to need to take a gray cube. This is a useless cube that you can't do anything with, except activate certain advanced technologies. You need to figure out which upgrades are worth slowing down your engine, and which slowing down your engine mitigating upgrades are worth also slowing down your engine. And what extra color cube do you pick at the start of the game? When do you stop fighting ghosts and switch to exploration? Should you kill opponent units or protect your own? Take 1 cube now or 2 cubes later? Ugh, there are so many good questions in this silly, stupid puzzle, and it feels pretty satisfying too. The game gives you 3 ways to play: a short, medium, and a long game. The long game has 3 endgame conditions, the short game has 1. I always play the long game because it's really not that long. It's like 70 to 90 minutes. In that long game, I feel like there's a good amount of time to experience all the stages of engine building. The initial moments where you feel like you just can't get enough done. The middle turns where you've decided on your strategy for this game and you're working toward it. And then the end game where your engine's firing on all cylinders and you're snagging 6 or 7 points a turn. And now, shield your eyes, because there's a big old butt coming. If you want to get to the good stuff, you'll have to wade through a kind of rough rule book, some wonky iconography things, and a rule or two that you'll just have to remember. This stuff isn't egregious, but it does get in the way of the game. Like, every time I set up, there's a section in the rulebook that tells you what each player gets to start the game, and it says that everyone gets 1 cube of each color. When I read that, I always go, wait a second, I could have sworn that everyone gets 1 cube of each and then 1 cube of any color of their choice. And then, 2 pages later, the rulebook says, oh yeah, everyone also gets 1 of their choice. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Things that aren't that big of a deal, but they just throw you off a little bit. I feel like I know the rules of this game pretty well, so most of the time I just check the rulebook for what we need for setup, and then I start. But if I didn't remember that there's just a little bit more that each player needs a few pages later, we'd be playing it wrong. Then there's a few icons that show up pretty rarely on just a handful of tech cards. Again, this doesn't ruin the experience, but because these icons are so rare, even though I know the game really well at this point, I still find myself referring to the rulebook for clarifications. Finally, I'm never a fan of when a game says, here are a few rules that are just rules. Oh, don't forget them. In this game, you just have to remember that moving into a forest costs you 1 additional movement point, moving out of a swamp costs you 1 extra movement, and moving into or out of a mountain costs an extra movement point for each of those things. You also have to remember that none of that matters if you're moving from the same location type to the same location type. And then as I was reading the rulebook to write this review, I found another of these rules that you just have to remember that I clearly didn't, because I don't think I've ever followed it. Supposedly, you need to have 3 minis on the board at all times. If you have 3 and then one of them dies, you just put another one back. I don't think I've ever done that. However, even though all these things make the game a bit more obtuse, they're not deal breakers. I still have a lot of fun building my bag, exploring the board, and riding dinosaurs, I guess. I've found that you should just surrender to the weirdness of Hyperborea. It's like when I play Dark Souls. I don't really know what's going on, but I know I'm having fun. So, Hyperborea, is it for you? I think if you like bag building and you like cube pushing and you're not opposed to a little player v player conflict, see if you can get it for cheap. I got this game from Miniature Market about 5 years ago on sale for $22. Definitely worth $22. It's a pretty jam-packed box, honestly. There's map tiles, there's cloth bags for every player, there's decks of tech cards, there's a million cubes, there's like 7 unique miniature sculpts. I mean, I'd pay like $60 or $70 for that. My rating, 8 out of 10. Thank you very much, and I'm so sorry for what I'm about to do to your names. Andrea Chiarvesio and Pierluca Zizi for guiding this strange baby through the board game birth canal. I wrote that down, and then I decided to say it. What's wrong with me? Now that I have a snazzy new logo, I'm joining the ranks of other board game YouTubers who slap their seals on games they recommend. Board and Savior recommends Hyperborea. All right, everybody, thanks for stopping by. Actually, you know what? Let's make a deal. If my dumb final bit for this video, if it surprises you, you gotta like and you gotta subscribe. Is that a deal? That sounds fair, right? So, all right. We'll see you next time, and, what? What's that? Yeah, that's my ride. I'll see you later, people. Up, and away, Kimberly!